next event. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for our men and women serving in our armed forces.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mitch.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger published a notice on December 18, 2020, was posted on the municipal bulletin board and should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilwoman Drum. Councilman Patel.
Here.
Councilman Anderson. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Vice President Bauer.
Here.
And President Small.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from June 1st, 2021?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances this evening, we'll start with letter A, which is a continuation from June 1st, which is the ordinance approving the application for a long-term tax exemption for the R&O Woodbridge Urban Renewal Property. That said, can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion. Second.
Any comments from the public?
Hello, Mr. President. Ken Gardner, 101 Scooter Avenue, Woodbridge. I know this is a public hearing on the ordinance, but just very, very briefly, I just wanted to congratulate Councilwoman Drum in the election. I pray for her return to the council soon, and when she comes, I will be here to concede to her in person at the council meeting. Thank you to Mr. Mitch and your staff and all of our poll clerks for conducting a fair election. I lost, but it was fair, and you know, the mail-in ballots were fair, and the machines were fair, and everything was fair, so thanks for being fair. On the ordinance, this is an ordinance for a 30-year tax abatement for a portion of the Hess property, I believe. This is something that the council can vote on and stop now. Doesn't matter if it was talked about 20 years ago. You can vote no and stop it now. Councilman Anderson lived in the first ward for 20 years. He's at large. Councilwoman De Jesus in the first ward. Council President Small, although you lived in the third ward, you were president of the Woodbridge Little League for all those years, and Councilman Ficarra, another at-large councilman, all for the first ward. It's ironic we have so many council people from the first ward, but I guess when you saw the postcard, then you understood what that was all about. I went to a fire call on Saturday on Oak Avenue, which, if you don't know where it is, it's about, I think it's 2 streets this side of the traffic light where the intersection of Route 9 and Main Street is. As I was pulling out, coming through my neighborhood, went down Green Street, cut across, the traffic was backed up tremendously and certainly delayed some of the volunteers from getting there. By the way, our career department arrived first with their lights and sirens, did a great job, put out a kitchen fire with an extinguisher, dragged the hose in, and really did a great job on the house, but a lot of traffic. I know that in the past we talked about the new intersection that's going to be put up the road a little bit further as a result of the tax abatements. I really disagree. Federal money, our Congressman Pallone is a chairman of a very powerful committee. He can get us federal money. Our Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. Copland's in charge of the state budget process. All the council's got to do is simply look to the right or left and ask him. He would have approved that money. He cares about Woodbridge. He would have approved money for it. So we didn't need to build one single unit in order to get the intersection fixed. Giving a 30-year tax abatement to apartment owners, builders, I think is ridiculous, especially in light of the market that we're in. We have a tremendous real estate market. Woodbridge is the crossroads of New Jersey. We have the intersection of the Parkway and the Turnpike, just a half mile to a mile up the street. We've got every highway in the state. We've got the train station. We've got buses. We have so many people trying to move out of New York City and want to buy property in Woodbridge. If you're going to build apartments, please don't be given tax breaks. I mean, I wouldn't vote to build the apartments, and I certainly wouldn't vote to give them a tax break. Myself, all of you, we're all paying 100% of their taxes. Why should somebody else come in at a lower portion over the years? It just is not fair. All of the other apartment complexes in Woodbridge, the owners of the apartment complexes are paying 100% of their taxes. And that obviously gets funneled down to the rent payers, and their rent increases when the taxes go up. So they're all paying 100%. I don't understand why we would continue to do that. Can I ask what is the expected assessed value of this property that is related to this ordinance after the construction of the 150 units, or if it's something else happening there, you can clarify and tell me what the plan to do is.
Council President, I do not know the assessed value. All I know is we're making $48 million over 30 years. So when the word abatement is thrown out, people might assume that abatement means they're paying no taxes. The Russo development on the Hess site is paying $48 million over 30 years. We can get the assessed value if Mr. Gardner wants to fill out a public information request.
Sure. Okay, so if it's 48 million over 30 years at a reduced rate, what does that mean? It would be 150 million if the rate wasn't reduced, or 100 million, or?
I said you can request the information on the assessed value.
Well, Mayor McCormick, I've got a lot of respect for you and your office. You're an accountant. You were the state treasurer. I know that you can throw numbers out at the snap of a finger. You must know, Mayor, what the full assessed value would be and what this property would pay over the next 30 years if we didn't give them a tax break.
I don't have the information in front of me. I don't want to make a mistake. Just fill out a public information request and you can have the information. But keep in mind that we keep 95% of pilots and only 25% of regular taxes. So even any pilot, no matter what the discount, provides more money to the township budget than regular taxes on any other property, and that money was what was used together with the other apartments downtown to pay for a brand new Ross Street School and to pay for a almost brand new Woodbridge Middle School, so that the taxpayers didn't have to pay for those two projects, and they got the benefit of the increase in property values by the virtue of two brand new schools.
Well, Mayor, as you just said, when we pay our property taxes, which this property owner should be doing if people were to vote no, the school board would get 60%. So please stop telling people you're doing the school board a favor. You owe them 60 cents on a dollar. When you give them 30 cents on a dollar, Mayor, you still owe them 30 cents.
That's incorrect, Mr. Gardner.
Excuse me, I have the floor. Excuse me, when you go to the track and build a new track and it's 20 cents on a dollar when you owe them 60 cents, that means you owe them 40 cents. But when you're there cutting the ribbon for the press conference, you don't tell that part of the story.
Because it's not true. It's inaccurate. The school board does their budget, and they calculate the amount they need from taxation. And they send us that amount, and we bill it and send it to them. Regardless of what the assessed value of any property is in the town, they get every dollar they need. So if a new company comes to town on a pilot, and they were without a pilot, that value would go into the base, and the tax rate would be lowered, but the school board still always gets every dollar they ask for. So we are never, ever shortchanging the school district by having pilots. You need to understand that.
So you didn't shortchange them $5 million and they had to transfer money out of their surplus into the regular account because you shortchanged them?
We didn't shortchange them, Mr. Gardner, and you know that. We still owe them the money, and we're paying them in kind because we have to build an extra floor on our parking deck up in the Ross Street area to make up for the additional staff that they have. That might be close to $3 million. We're doing work on Woodbridge Middle School. That's coming off the $5 million. We paved parking spaces behind Ross Street School. That's coming off the $5 million. We bought 79 Grove Street next to Woodbridge Middle School and tore it down. That's coming off the $5 million. I can assure you, we never shortchanged the school district anything, or you know what? They would be here complaining, not you. And they're not, because they know it's true. They know we agreed to pay $5 million toward the 2017 referendum. We haven't literally cut them the check yet because we are doing it in other ways. We're giving them in-kind contributions.
Did you say this has been going on since 2017? You owed them $5 million?
You said we owed it. You don't even know what we owe it for?
They're not a bank, Mayor. They're not a bank. They don't loan the town money.
They haven't been out of pocket.
And you get to pay back whenever you feel like and add on.
Why aren't they here complaining, Mr. Gardner?
Well, Mayor,
Why aren't they?
Listen,
Why don't you ask them if they're mad that we owe them $5 million? We don't.
I'm a taxpayer, I'm upset you owe them $5 million.
We don't owe them.
You just said you owe them.
We have a deal with them to provide in-kind contributions for the money we said we would contribute toward the 2017 referendum. You don't even know where the $5 million comes from. You just admitted it.
Well, it was transferred out of their surplus because the town...
No, it wasn't.
$5 million.
No, it wasn't.
The town...
No, it wasn't.
Did not transfer money out of their surplus to cover the $5 million?
The school board?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so how did they cover the...
Why don't you ask them? You're so concerned. You're more concerned than they are. Why don't you ask them?
I'm here asking you, Mayor, because I think... you
I'm
owe
not the
$5
school board
million.
accountant. I'm not the superintendent.
Well, you know, you just gave a lot of information adding up to the $5 million that you owe them since 2017, and then you told me you don't owe them the money.
I didn't say we don't owe them money. I said we're not paying them cash because we're doing an in-kind contribution. Don't put words in my mouth. You have enough trouble with the words that come out of your mouth.
Okay. Thank you for the input, Mayor. I just would urge the council to vote no. This vote will lead to 150 more units. Is that correct? Is it 150 more units that we're looking to put on this property, or is it more or less than that? A little less.
Marta? The amount of units, do you know off the top of your head?
It's in the vicinity of about 200, 250, I believe.
Oh, 250, or 200, 250. I'm sorry, I was off. Okay, so even better yet, instead of voting no, and listen, this is a personal plea. You know, this isn't politics. I live
Sure.
here. Some of the other council people live in the ward. The rest of you live in the township. Please stop what you're doing. You know, I lost the election, but I think when a challenger runs off the line and comes as close as I did, it says that people were talking to you, not just me. So a lot of people came out and voted. I don't think everybody in the election was voting just on these projects for or against. But I think it's fair to say that a lot of the people that voted for me voted because they were concerned with the building that's going on. And I don't know, maybe postpone and survey the people a little bit better, because I just don't, I don't believe the majority of the people are in favor of the projects that are going on Main Street. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your input, Mayor.
Are there any other comments on letter A? Letter A only?
Good evening, everybody. John retired Woodbridge. I just want to comment again what Kenny was talking about Mr. Mitch, John Mitch. I want to thank you for running this election, because there was a lot of unprojected problems we had because of the last year and this year, and the way people did it was great, yourself and your people. I just want to appreciate it because it was done fairly, squarely. And again, you did so much to it. I gotta say it's a lot of work, and the way they did it, congratulations. Again, on the letter A, when are we going to stop doing this, what we're doing? We don't have much properties left. We are not someplace in Alaska. We got an unlimited amount of land. We are only, the mayor, in fact, Mayor McGreevy said, we are 85% developed when he was a mayor. We had a 15% left, and now we are giving away to those people that are kind of, I would say, robbing this town. They know how to do it. They take advantage of it. They're not giving any tax breaks to the tenants that come to this apartment, do they? They don't. Why do we have to give them breaks? Because if they don't come, somebody else will come. I remember years ago back when Bill Pez was the mayor, and I complained to him, I said, you know, Frank, you gotta watch tax increase on the residents, because the people moving out of this town. So what? One moves out, three move in. Well, I said, Frank, the problem is, those people, when they move, they take their friends with them. If you know what's going on, not just this town, you know what's going on in the state, all over. Woodbridge is the desirable area because of the way we are located, trains, highways, so far nice people. And I don't say people that come in, they're nice people. But again, we only got a limited amount of space. And if we don't get tax breaks, believe me, those developers will come anyway. they will come here, because no other town in the Middlesex County or the area, they have like the footages. But again, when are you going to stop? Because you don't want special people in the council over here. Mayor might not be remembered, but you people be one that's going to say, they did it to us. 30 years from now, they're going to talk about you, what you did to this town. Those people are building those apartments on the top of the concrete, wood. Wood, how long is the wood's going to last? Today, we did 7-story buildings. 20 years from now, they'll put a 20-story on top of it. It's the property, it's the land, it's a desirable piece of land. And we're giving it away. We just can't do it because some people will move out and some people will stick around. But again, it's not right. I know most of the developers, they're making fun of us, what we do. They got us because somebody's giving in to them. How they do it, God bless it, but again, I'm going to take much of the time. But Mayor, you talk about the school board. I was there last week, and I know most of the people in school board, and most of the people in the council, of course, and of course people in zoning board, planning board. The reason they don't say anything because you are the one who runs the school board. You just got a bunch of puppets over there, but you are the one who calls the shots. So of course they're not going to play because tomorrow they'll be out of a job. So don't give us to this story because you can talk to people over there, but us, we know different. It's you are the one that's making those shots. And God bless you if you can get away with it, but it's not going to last. Thank you.
Council
Are
President.
there any other comments on letter A?
Council President. Mayor. Can I just point out, this is the same argument we had with Station Village and Avenel. There are generally 4 options anytime there's a piece of land available in Woodbridge. It could be retail, and clearly there's no need for retail there because the retail in Woodbridge Center, there's 2 of the 6 anchors vacant, so there's no real demand at all for retail space on the Hess site. It could be an office building. There's no demand for an office space on the Hess site. No one's going to build an office on the Hess site. It could be a warehouse. The last thing we want on Upper Main Street with trucks up and down Main Street is a warehouse. The 4th option is residences. And the apartments are going to be filled by people who commute to the city or to Jersey City or to other places. It's the best option for us, just like it was the best option in Station Village and Avenel. This is not a decision we came to lightly, but of those 4 choices, residences are the least intrusive on the taxpayers and residents and citizens of Woodbridge Township, and that's why we chose that option. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Pardon me. Good evening, Tom Maris, Fords, New Jersey. Pardon me. Take a moment to mention, I noticed that Councilwoman Drum is near, and I only just recently found that she is battling cancer, and I just want to wish her and her family all the best in overcoming that horrible disease. I hope for a full and speedy recovery. I'm sorry that she's not here this evening. Going on to Ordinance A, many things have been said already, but I just heard for the first time that it's approximately 250 units. What's the exact location of that? I know it's on Upper Main Street, where the Hess property used to be. There's still a big mound of dirt, but it's my understanding CBS is going to be taking part of that area closer to where the gas sales are, the gas tankage. Where exactly are these 250 units going to be located in that?
Ms. Darden?
They're directly across from Wegmans, and you go out there now, you can see where they are. Right there.
Directly across, okay. So that's addition to the ones that are, how many are going under construction right now?
No, that is what's under construction.
That's 250, that's it? That's all? Okay. And was there a traffic study done on that?
Honestly, that was in front of the board several years ago. I really don't remember.
Same would be true whether we're asking whether there's a traffic study, a fire study, storage implications, and so on.
That would have all been taken into account during that last board approval presented testimony at that hearing.
I kind of remember that it wasn't back then, but maybe subsequently it might have been. I know I asked the question a long time ago. One of the things that came up, and I think everybody's worried about this, is really the impact that it'll have on the community itself, the traffic congestion it's going to create. Whether it brings new residents, we hope that it will, and we hope we will have good, solid citizens coming in. Obviously, as the mayor pointed out, had we gone housing, typically people are more attached to their homes than apartment dwellers who come and go. And that's a lot of apartment dwellers. But within this too, because Woodbridge is so concerned about greenability, is there any provision that they are going to make for recharging units for electric cars within this complex itself? Because I have not heard that addressed anywhere on any of the new projects that are being put up, and yet it should be something deeply of concern to the township and to the planning boards, the zoning board, planning board anyway, and this body, whether we're providing for that kind of charging stations if we in fact want to promote electric cars coming into town, which will help decrease. That's one of my questions on it. But going back to something that the mayor said, and this is rather an interesting comment, two things really about it is that under a pilot program, the Board of Education doesn't see it 60%, it sees it's 25% of that. And that was kind of an unwritten law between the township and the Board of Education going back to 2006. Now, generally speaking, the idea of a pilot program, and I think you're well aware of this, is to attract businesses in, particularly businesses such as warehousing, manufacturing, that take up space that's not being utilized, but they create jobs without burdening the infrastructure. This type of apartment complexes does just the opposite. It gives us less tax revenue, it increases the infrastructure cost all the way around on our storage, our electric, our vehicular, our schools especially. I mean, we're seeing the schools being revamped now and enlarged, and in part I'm hoping they're taking into consideration the upflow we're going to have as more and more people come in, because we've probably got 3,000 new apartments in the last 5 or 6 years that have gone up. So those are my questions, is how can you go ahead and authorize this thing to go ahead, again, giving somebody a tax break? They really wanted this property, they would be there in this market and they'd be building that complex without a tax break. Bet you dollars to donuts they would be. Because this isn't warehousing we're trying to act, this isn't some power plant that we're pulling in and we're in competition with other towns for it, as the mayor previously pointed out. These are homes. These guys want to make money, they're developers, and they'll go where they need to go and build where they can. All we're doing is adding a lot more of our money into their pocket. I hope you will vote no for a change and think of this town and the people that live in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on letter A? Here are no other comments. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll now take letter B, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 11, Animal Control. This is a rewrite with some amendments to the Animal Control Ordinance. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only.
Mr. President, Ken Gardner, 101 Scoter Avenue, Woodbridge. Can you just, on this, and then I don't want to come back to the mic again and waste your time, for C, just give a little bit more of a detailed explanation what we're doing with B, and then when C comes up, to give just some detail that, you know, the regular average Woodbridge person would understand?
Do you have a question on B?
Well, on B, right, on B and then on C for both of them, if you could just explain what we're doing. I understand Mr. Mitch said there's going to be some changes to the animal control ordinance. So what are the
Sinaluca?
changes, or the general?
Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Back in the horrific incident, I should say, in Carteret, where the young child was mauled by a dog, we decided to take a look at all of our animal-related ordinances to see if they were current enough and to see if we were able to protect our citizens from something similar. And what we found was many of them were very, very old. They were written a long time ago, and one even referred to a telegraph. That's how old it was. So we sat with our attorneys and we went through a probably 60-day process of line by line, word by word, and coming up with whatever changes we thought would be necessary to give us the control we needed to try to prevent anything like that from ever happening in Woodbridge, recognizing that much of it is to do with enforcement of the existing ordinances, not necessarily to change them, but it was all a big package in reaction to that to make sure that we protected the citizens of the township of Woodbridge.
Thank you.
Sounds like a great idea. Obviously, I don't know all the details, but from what the mayor explained, thanks for the explanation, Mayor, it sounds like a good ordinance. Thank you.
Any other comments on letter B? Here are no other comments. Got to get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law.
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter C is a second reading on an ordinance regulating the operation of cannabis businesses and the consumption of cannabis within the boundaries of Woodbridge Township. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open.
Motion. Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. And Mr. Gardner, just to answer your question so you didn't have to go back to the microphone, this follows the state law that was recently enacted. It sets forth all the classes of cannabis, cultivating, manufacturing, sales, and this is basically setting them as a conditional use and indicating where these operations can occur, mostly designated to the M1 light industrial zone.
Thank you.
John Vitari, Woodbridge. On letter C, could you explain, Mr. Mitch, what exactly is this location and what exactly is this business, the cannabis?
Do you want me to take it? The attorney wrote it. You want to take it? Which I can if you want.
The question is, what,
What kind of business they in?
What business is it?
What is it?
there are various categories that are set forth in the state statute.
What is it?
There are various categories of businesses, including cultivation, manufacturing, warehousing, and retail. And the township is allowing cultivation, manufacturing, distribution. I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but
where's the
they're
location?
All categories except for retail in the M1 and M2
M1.
zone. And all of those operations have to be at least 1,000 feet away from any residential property if there happens to be one that backs up to that M1 zone. Also parks, churches, I don't recall exactly what the list was, what it had on it, but there were several categories that it had to be at least 1,000 feet away from to minimize any impact on those types of, those uses.
The location, Mr. Vitara?
Excuse me, are you talking about the medical marijuana spot?
Not
No, all the other categories that are authorized by the state law that just came out last December or whenever it was enacted.
Okay, but the specific business you talk about, do we have this kind of business in this town already?
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Do
understand.
we
what you
have
said.
this kind of business already in this town? in
We have a
Woodbridge?
medical marijuana facility that
That's what I'm-
operates
that's what
on
I'm talking
one.
about.
I'm sorry, what?
Now in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, so Mayor described it, how essential, how important it is to the town. We want to do before any other town. I guess we do everything before any other town, including the sex offenders. We talk about the power plant. We talk about you name it, be the first. Are you familiar with this location, the specific location?
Which location?
Medical marijuana spot.
I know where it is, yes.
You know what it is. Do you know what kind of problems they have over there?
I do not.
Does anybody else know?
Director Hubner, any issues?
No. You're not aware of it? They got a problem with people driving into the property? Do you know they went to the next door, people in the ShopRite facilities? They asked for permission to put another drive into their parking lot. They were denied. Are you aware of it? They are being sold in these 2-3 days.
They're what?
Excuse me, they're what?
They're going to be sold in 2-3 days.
Who's going to be sold?
The marijuana facility.
How does that have anything to do with the ordinance?
No, it's not the ordinance. Ordinance is there, but I'm saying it, does it consider to be under any kind of a business like alcohol, or how do you license those people? Now they're selling medical marijuana.
The
and
state
they're gonna be
license, the
selling
state issues these licenses.
Recreation marijuana.
The state issues these licenses. All
State
the
is-
township does is regulate where they go. The state issues the licenses to,
But you can decide where they go, right?
correct.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's a bad place to put it in. You can put that thing under the bridge there, people still be coming there. The place is not,
It's already there.
I know.
It's been there
It's
for how
there.
many years?
I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's there. This is completely
Yes.
expanding.
Mr. Vitara? Mr. Mitch, go over this, okay?
Can I just mention, because I'm not sure if we're understanding each other, there's no expansion of the medical marijuana facility proposed where it is now. That stays the way it is. What this ordinance is regulating, again, is not the sale. This is the cultivating, the manufacturing, the wholesaling, the distribution. There's no retail sales coming from this. And just to go over again, the M1 and M2 business zones, you asked what property. It's not a specific property. These are light industrial zones that are
Council
throughout
President,
the area of the
I
township.
understand.
Mr. Similuka.
Mr. Vitale, this ordinance does not allow for any retail sales to be established other than what's already granted by the state law.
So when you talk about recreational marijuana, they will not be sold there.
It will be sold there. The state has automatically grandfathered any medical marijuana facility and granted them an immediate license to sell recreational marijuana. That we have absolutely no control over. We did decide that we don't want any other recreational marijuana facilities in town. We're 25 square miles, we're 100,000 people, there's 565 towns in the state. If everyone had one, there'd be way too many. So we're gonna have one, which we have no control over, and we're leaving it at that. However, you can grow, you can cultivate, you can do other things in industrial zones, as long as you're not too close to homes or churches or libraries or schools or parks. So that's what this ordinance does. We have no control over the fact that recreational marijuana can be sold in that facility.
You have no control any place in Woodbridge. But this particular facility, it's got 21,000 square feet. It's got 61 parking spaces. They got 30 full-time employees. And this business, you know how much traffic it's going to create? There's no parking. Facility is too small.
The business
That's not what this is
there.
about. That's not what this ordinance is about.
The business
Well,
has
what-
been
but
there
I'm just
for
saying
years, and we
facilities.
can't control what the state allows.
We can't deny them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments on letter C? There are no other comments. Got to get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law.
Motion. Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Under letters D and E, we'll take as first reading ordinances passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune, June 25th, 2021, with notice of public hearing to be held on July 6th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Any motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. President, resolutions 1 through 44, the document in front of you shows up to 41, 42, 43, and 44 were my omission. These were items that were requested at the last agenda by our town engineer, so they have been added. Can I get a motion to approve 1 through 44?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we'll go to our open public session. As a reminder, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and where you live. Thank you.
Well, again, Mr. President, Ken Gardner, 101 Scoter Avenue, Woodbridge. A couple items from the campaign. I think I would ask that maybe somebody on the council place these items on their agenda to go forward. The first item I want to talk about, the mayor was talking about warehouses, and there's been discussion of a warehouse on Penn Val Road, Cutter's Dock Road. There were articles in the paper recently where I'm told, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm told that the same developer was proposing a warehouse in Edison, and the residents came out opposed to it. They are now seeking a grant through the New Jersey DEP Urban Park program and rolling it over to Green Acre acquisition for park development. That area also is adjacent to along the Woodbridge River. I know, I guess it was the Earth Day celebration. They were here. They talked about, you know, table and pictures talking about the greenway along the Woodbridge River up into Avenel. Maybe we can expand that, you know, further down this way. You know, a lot of trucks will come from the warehouses, as the mayor said. He doesn't want it in the middle of Main Street, and if the trucks are going to be exiting through Cutter's Dock Road in the Strawberry Hill area or through Penval Road, I think these are proposed ideas that I'd ask you to look at, and possibly keeping it as open space. The mayor talked about options for property. One of the options is open space, through these redevelopment areas and, condemnation, et cetera. Property is looked at or put into a specific area where maybe we should be, or we definitely should be looking at more open space, because there's not much in Woodbridge. And with all those roadways I talked about before, there's a lot of emissions, so we could put some trees out there to eat up some things and go the opposite direction. For the agenda items, Lewis Street in Woodbridge, behind the White Church, just on the other side of where the new recreation center is. Recreation center seems to be good, but they've got some bright lights on the back, which obviously you want it to be lit up, but it's literally shining into the houses. I don't know whether maybe the lights can be put on the opposite fence so they're aiming in, or some kind of something put around them. I got a couple items. If somebody could just add that, I'll go down them and we could follow up on them later. Ned Court, as you come in off of Port Reading Avenue, wind your way back through Ned Court, where the houses that are actually on Ned Court start. The first light post, the light is out. Outside of that, just across the street, we've got a bus depot there. They said it's not really, one of the residents was telling me it's not very well sheltered, so maybe we could talk to New Jersey Transit to get the updated facility. I guess it's in the area of where the Dunkin' Donuts is. Also in that development, we have Catherine Street. There is no E in the middle of our street. However, on one end of the block, there's a post that says Catherine with no E. On the other end of the block, it has an E in the middle of it. So same street, two different ends, the posts are spelled differently. People would say, big deal. Well, God forbid we have an emergency call and somebody puts the wrong address in. I'm told that some people that live there have people coming to their house, and when you put the E into your navigator, you end up at Catherine with the E in Carteret. So something that could be fixed very easily. Main Street, just down the street here, in front of, I think it's 283 and 285. A lot of graffiti on one of the signs there, and also on the sidewalk, if somebody can clean that up. Ridgedale Avenue, really from Freeman Street all the way up at the end to Bucknell. I don't know if we've done a traffic study there, Director Hubner, but if we could do a traffic study, check on the traffic conditions, and also, for Public Works, for some of the rough spots, if you could look on that as well. Another issue, I understand that a lot of work has been done on this already. Freeman Street, near the intersection with Linden Avenue, I'm told there's a lot of truck traffic and speeding problems. A resident had reached out to the director's office, I guess, and to Community Affairs. I don't want to put the director on the spot. He's got a million things to do, but maybe if there's any light he can shed now, I'd like to hear it. If not, if somebody could get back to me.
Sure.
Director.
Yes, we've done a number of traffic studies. Freeman Street, it's more of a volume problem than a speeding problem. From the data, there has been truck traffic. That's correct. We've sent the traffic enforcement unit out there. It's probably one of the most patrolled streets in the township at this point, but it's a continuing problem, and we will continue to address it.
Thank you. If we can maybe get periodic updates on this. I mean, I live not too far from there. My wife travels Freeman Street on her way to work every day. I'm on it many times. My family and friends and all of our neighbors are. So anything we could do to increase the safety and eliminate that, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for the extra time.
Again, Tom Maris, Forge, New Jersey. I have 4 questions, but I'd like to ask them and then let the council advise responses for those questions. On tonight's resolutions, I'm looking at number 18, number 19, number 22, and I'd like an explanation on number 18, what the total cost, the date is on that, and the nature of that particular lawsuit, if you can discuss it. I know there's attorney-client privilege, but certainly the cost factors can be discussed. This is asking for an additional $20,000. I see now there's a resolution authorizing the acquisition of body cameras, something that had been talked about for quite some time. And up until recently, when it became pretty much a state mandate, it was kind of a dead issue here in Woodbridge. Now that's no longer the case. You're asking for $732,370.75. But how much are we getting from state and or federal to subsidize our police department and the taxpayers, obviously, for that expense? And the third question is number 22, agreement with T&M Associates for professional engineering service for Up Smiths Creek Community Complex, Seawarren, in an amount not to exceed $1,489,000. That's a lot of money. What is all that about? What are they doing and what's going to be going there? And then finally, the fourth question is, where does the town council, particularly the town council, stand on the position of CRT in our school systems, or call it, if you will, as the Board of Education is, diversity, equity, and inclusion? Do you have a position on it, and if so, what is that position? Thank you.
Number 18, we cannot talk about that, Mr. Maris, pending lawsuit.
Not even to the costs.
That's what the attorney said.
Okay.
Okay. Number 19,
We have a grant of approximately $630,000 of the $732,000 that the body-worn cameras will cost. The rest will come from the township budget.
I'm sorry, you have a $600,000.
$630,000.
All right. So are you subtracting that from the 732, or it's additive to the 732? So we're well over $1.3 million.
No, you asked how much of that was covered by grant, and I said $630,000.
So the taxpayers out of the pocket, taking into consideration what you just said, Mr. Mayor, would be $132,000 approximately.
Be $102,000.
Okay, thank you.
The Seawarren grant is covered by the state budget. We expect, if this budget passes as it's introduced, we will get a $1.5 million grant toward the engineering work for the Seawarren Marina. That will cover the design of the bulkheads. They have all fallen into the Smiths Creek. The piles are a mess. There needs to be a significant amount of dredging done. There is some environmental cleanup, and the entire amount of this contract will be covered by a grant from the 2022 state budget, which we'll be able to access after July 1st when that budget is official.
And that marina will be open then for public? We have township facilities there now at the marina. Will this be an expansion of that?
Yes.
So that the public can use it?
yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the fourth question.
Fourth question, Mr. Maris, respectfully, we're not doing a Q&A with the council in regards to
I'm
that
sorry?
question. We're not doing a Q&A with the council in regards to that question. If you want to ask people separately after the meeting, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, but there is no set policy as far as the board itself is concerned on that issue?
As far as the council is concerned?
The court, I'm sorry, yes, the council itself.
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Are there any comments or questions from the public? Any others?
Good evening, Kason Little, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Justice for Najee Parks. Najee Parks has not received justice. Your racist administration has continued to cover up and to spew out lies that Najee Parks did not commit. I see the spokesperson's getting ready to make his statement as he's been antsy since we walked in. Najee Parks deserved justice. Another unarmed, innocent black man who honestly was driving through this town, just like many relatives I have, who get racially profiled, discriminated against, that go unseen and unheard of, or go seen and heard of, and no consequences are being made. And you sit there on a pedestal thinking that you are untouchable. You sit there and you look at the public and you lie, and you lie, and you lie, and you continue to spew out hate from your leadership. It is inhumane. It is immoral. It is incompetent. And they are tired of it. My relatives that live here are tired of it. But I know you don't give a damn about it because you are not personally affected by it. That's why you are not outraged. They made calls, they put it in writing, they marched, they cried, and you still do not care. But you want people to come up to you and ask for things. No, we are demanding change. Demanding it. And if change isn't made, how do you feel? How do you think the brave young queens and kings who don't look like you will feel in not only a world, but in a town that does not value their existence? Discrimination and racism is alive and well in Woodbridge, and you say it's not. You are racist. Your leadership is racist. All eyes are on Woodbridge. Justice for every single black woman and black man who have not received justice because either they were robbed by the hands of law enforcement, or they were racially profiled, or they were brutalized by police. They have not received justice. And you denied all of his complaints. You denied his complaints that were made by the police in this town. Shame on you. You should resign effective immediately. Racism is not allowed. We condemn it and we speak against it. You should resign. It is disgusting, distasteful, inhumane, and it is wrong. But we got to continue saying the same thing over and over again. It's evident that you don't care about black lives. We know it. It's not just about you. All means all, right? You'd rather have that on the hashtag so quick. Don't talk that talk, walk that walk, and put it into policies. Legislate in full defense of black lives. We are on a mandate. This is a continuous state of emergency for black people. Because we are tired. Our pains and our sufferings and our traumas are real. It is real. It is not something to be made fun of. It is not for fun. You think we do it for our health? No, it causes more of a detriment to our health. And you sit there and still don't get it. Resign now. Resign now. Resign now. Resign now. I can say that till I'm blue in the face. But you need to resign because your leadership is inhumane and you do not remedy our traumas. So therefore you are an occupant. Therefore you are there for your own agenda. Therefore you are there for your own greed of what you can get out of the faith. You are not there to serve people. You are not, because if you were, you would have done it yesterday. So urgently, so quickly, as if Brett was doing them first. But you continue to fail people. You continue to neglect us, mistreat us, silence us. They're tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Najir Parks deserve justice, as well as the countless and hundreds of others who rolled through the township that have been racially profiled and brutalized by the hands of law enforcement. They deserve justice. Get uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable too. I see you shaking. Good. It's funny to you. I know it is. But it's not funny to me because this is not a joke. The pain, the trauma, and the sufferings are real. Just because you don't experience it does not mean you should not be outraged. Have a heart generated by love and care. No, I don't yield back. Justice for Najir Park.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public?
Paul Lund, Hope Lawn. In regards to the medical marijuana dispensary, that was, it's a licensee who occupies that location? Someone who got a license to open that dispensary back in the day, or is that a government-run operation?
No, there's, way back many years ago, there were 6 medical marijuana facilities approved in the state of New Jersey, and the one in Woodbridge was one of the first 3 or 4 that was approved. Now I think the number is much higher than 6.
Is it though someone had to get a license to open it? Or
From the state of New Jersey, yes.
Now, was it state operated or was
No.
it a private entity?
It's a private entity.
Okay. Now that private entity, you mentioned forced to make recreational marijuana available, but it's more like a choice. Being a private entity, they can choose to retail the medical marijuana or not. Is that accurate to say?
There's no connection between the medical and the recreational. They can choose to offer recreational. They're not forced to, no, you're correct.
Okay. So if there were a lot of citizens who were up in arms about having medical marijuana dispensed or retailed in the town, they could peacefully protest that. And perhaps
Certainly, but the
influence-
protest wouldn't be to them because they're automatically licensed. The protest would be to the state, Department of Health perhaps. I'm not sure who oversees them.
Right.
But they automatically have the approval. So, you know, could you convince them to not offer it? I suppose. But
It'd be
they have the
unlikely,
right
though.
to. You would have
As
to,
a- Yeah,
you could convince the state to rescind their license.
right.
Mr. Lund, you said
Yes.
protest, medical and recreational. You meant recreational?
I don't think I mentioned the medical, but yes, I did mean
Okay.
recreation, absolutely.
All right.
The other question I had, it's not really a question. I heard Mr. Mayor mention that, you know, the warehouse on Main Street would be the last choice because of obviously, I would think, traffic and things along those lines. I'm a little concerned, living in Hope Lawn, about the warehouse that opened there. I know it's a little late in the game to do anything about it, but I do want to ask one question around it, and that is there's a lot of street parking there that seems to me, even there's a little luncheonette right across from the warehouse, and a lot of people try to park there to run in and out, and it's right where the trucks would be making their wide turns into the warehouse. I'm wondering, is there going to be anything done on street ordinances? Because I know a lot of residents there have been parking on the street for a long time, and now businesses like the car shop, the garage that's on the corner. What's going to be done to, you know, not have such a tight squeeze on that road?
There's going to be an ordinance in front of us very soon to have no parking going east from Pennsylvania Avenue to Ellen Avenue.
Okay.
And keep parking for those businesses so we don't disrupt their businesses.
Right.
And adjust that left turning lane so it's more feasible.
And I'm thinking there's not a lot of room there to begin with, and the business is right opposite the warehouse.
Yes, like I said,
It's
if
gonna
we
be
don't,
tough.
if we don't amend that parking on
Right.
New Brunswick Avenue, it will be definitely a conflict.
Okay.
But with us going with the no parking from New Brunswick Avenue going east toward Ellen, it should alleviate that and the county changing that turning lane.
Okay,
So our engineer's in contact with the county engineer to adjust that turning lane.
okay.
Mayor?
As soon as that was opened, those that design of the lanes,
Yeah.
Councilman Barrow and our office started getting calls with complaints, and it is being redesigned. It was ill-advised the way they designed it. It did not allow for parking for the businesses on the street, and the turns were awkward. So you're absolutely right, but that is being addressed.
Okay. And then one small question. I noticed on the flagpole you had a third flag, I guess relating to Pride Month. My question is, how people love in the privacy of their bedroom is one thing, but what's the reasoning that we have to publicly celebrate sexuality? And is there room for a church, perhaps, to put a cross up as a flag on the pole? Or, I mean, how much room do you have, or Black Lives Matter, why there's no flag there? What was the decision behind that? And,
That's a nationally recognized month,
right,
and therefore it's subject to us putting a flag up in support of it.
right. And again,
We don't just do any cause because they're not necessarily officially recognized, but the Pride Month is officially recognized by the government.
but you have the choice whether to, like I say, to me, I'm a little old-fashioned. Celebrating sexuality in a public domain, it doesn't seem proper to me. I'm wondering how the local clergy, did they have any input and
Look,
feedback?
Woodbridge is a very diverse community. We have people of all different ethnicities, races, colors, sexual persuasions,
Right.
and we support everybody, and this is an indication of that support.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Hi, my name is Victoria Birch from Colonial. Just quickly about the Pride flag. The Pride flag, the version that is being flown now is the progressive Pride flag that includes a black stripe and a brown stripe for people of all races to finally be recognized by the community that that only exists because of the black women of color who made sure that that was the case. So people of color are represented in that pride flag. Okay, that was for him. Anyway, Saturday was Juneteenth. It was lovely to see all of you there at the celebration, those of you who were able to make it. As we learned or observed or knew beforehand or are going to learn now, Juneteenth was a celebration also known as Freedom Day, where the last enslaved people were finally made aware that they were technically no longer enslaved, even though the cultural aspects, the socioeconomic aspects, and the legal aspects of Southern living directly after emancipation wasn't all that different. As we are a town that has celebrated Juneteenth now, and it was lovely that we got to have a celebration that was assisted by the administration, but it was enacted because of the people who wanted to see that change take place. So I'm a part of that group. I'm a member of WONAC, the Woodbridge Organization of Neighbors Advocating Change. I often don't say that when I come up here because I am angry and aggressive, and I don't want that to be the connotation of WONAC. WONAC is a diverse group of town members who come together to act on behalf of the changes that we want to see made in Woodbridge. And we also take time in our meeting to discuss some of the difficult issues that come up in town. And it's really nice to air our grievances without judgment and hear from differing perspectives and learn from each other. So this group of diverse people saw fit for Woodbridge to finally celebrate Juneteenth. And as such, this group of committed town members who saw an issue decided to do something about it. And I just wanted to commend the group and thank them for their ability to do so. And just showing that a group of people who decided to give a damn about something was what made a difference in the town. Granted, it was just a celebration, but people got to display art, and black businesses were supported, and a little bit of learning and a little bit of culture were able to be shared that day. And I think it's exemplary of the fact that the only things that tend to happen culturally in this town on the side of progress and on behalf of black lives and on behalf of the countless other social issues that we should be caring about in town only really come into effect when a group of people, mainly our town citizens, decide to do something about it. So, all of that to say, Black Lives Matter. It's been well over a year now. With all the work that's been put forward, I'm eager and excited to see any of the fruits of that labor come through from the council and from the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments this evening from the public?
Good evening. My name is John Mascom. I live in Port Reading. Good evening to everyone on the dais. My question is, since Nancy Drum and Lori Spiller are running for office, this question directly to them. And since Nancy's not here, I feel bad that we're going to have to take it both. I was wondering why, if you're familiar with places like Monroe, where they have beautiful gated communities, where they built homes on the open land and made them really nice and helped elevate the quality of the town. Instead of the apartments that have been built, you know, in Abatement, what's going on in Woodbridge, why didn't you go that direction first?
Mr. Maskelyne, we'll take that under consideration in the future, but
Well, you should have an idea why you did it. So you should have some kind
it's not a Q&A between you and Councilman Spiller.
Well, this is a public forum, and everybody should
Public
know about it,
comments.
so.
Public
I
comments.
appreciate that, sir, but I'd rather have Corey answer it, because he's the one promoting it, so I'd rather hear from him.
Council President?
Yes.
Like you said, this isn't a Q&A, but Mr. Maskinen has my number. He's reached out to me plenty of times, so feel free to contact me at any given time like you have before in the past.
So you can at least give me an idea of why you went towards apartments instead of building up nice homes in those areas?
Mr.
You have to have
Maskell,
some idea, because...
Mr. Maskell, with all due respect, I know that you speak to each other often, and I also know that you are running against Councilman Spiller for Third Ward Councilman, so is this what it's really about?
No, it's about why you did it. I mean, I ran an $8 million business. I have an environmental background. I graduated in chemistry and I minored in business. I've been working in the environmental field for 28 years. From a laboratory man to environmental consulting engineering to waste disposal. So I know everything in and out when you build on these properties and where the stuff is. It's just a simple question. He should know because he's on the council and you guys made the decision. So I'm directing this to Corey, not yourself, sir. I mean, he has to have some idea because he is promoting on his ballot and stuff he sends in the mail. That's what he did. So I just wanted to get from him, why did he come up with that idea and why did he go the other direction?
Mayor, you want to say something?
Council President, the council people have nothing to do with the zoning laws in terms of what is approved. If anybody came to us seeking single-family homes on that site or any other site, we would evaluate it. The fact is nobody's building large-scale single-family homes anywhere in Woodbridge Township, and generally not many places in the state. I would submit that large single-family homes produce more kids in schools than Transit Village apartments, and if we approved a 50-unit housing complex there, there'd probably be 100 kids in the schools, and you'd be complaining that we're putting too many kids in the schools. The fact is that 500 apartments have produced 51 students in our school system. That's not even one per classroom. So that's when somebody comes with an application, if they came with an office building, we'd evaluate it. If they came with a warehouse, we'd evaluate it. If they came with a Costco, we'd evaluate it. If they came with residential homes, we'd evaluate it. They came with apartments. We evaluated it. It's right on a train station. It's absolutely perfect for luxury apartments. That's what's there. It worked. There's not much increased traffic because of it. Nobody's complained about it. There's only 51 kids in school. That was the best use of that parcel.
Okay, I understand by the train station, but I don't want to elaborate too long because I know there's a lot of people that like to talk. So I'll do this at the next council meeting, or I'll send this all a letter, and I'll give you time to respond to it at the next council meeting. But the question was that even put, since you brought that up, was that even put on the table?
We don't put things on the table. People come to us when they get control of a site and ask us if we would consider their option. We don't go out and look for people on private sites.
Okay. All right. I will revisit this at another. I really appreciate you guys answering. And Corey, I was hoping to hear from you, but I understand, thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Good evening, James Dabrowski, Woodbridge proper. Yesterday, I proudly joined advocates from over 25 civil rights organizations throughout New Jersey at the State House in Trenton to demand real accountability and transparency in policing. The demonstration called for the passage of police reform bills, which include 1, creating strong civilian oversight of police by establishing civilian complaint review boards, or CCRBs, with subpoena power. That's the key. 2, making police disciplinary records public as they are in many other states. 3, banning and criminalizing chokeholds. 4, limiting deadly force. And 5, ending qualified immunity. Assemblywoman Angela McKnight, whose CCRB bill is sadly being delayed, left the assembly floor to come outside and address the diverse crowd, proclaiming, "We want to move forwards, not backwards. This is one giant step towards fostering transparency, awareness, and equality." ACLU New Jersey Executive Director Amal Sinha warned how there are calculated efforts behind closed doors to weaken each of the police reform bills in front of the legislature. There are whisper campaigns behind these walls to make sure we water down every piece of legislation. Don't be fooled. A CCRB without its core elements is not accountability, he said. While some politicians said they support reform, they're also seeking money and endorsements from police unions. I don't know about you, but I can't reconcile that in my head. In fact, a separate bill supported by the openly Trump-supporting police unions, including the NJ State PBA right up the street, which allows cops to review body cam footage before filing their initial reports, is being fast-tracked through our state legislature, despite civil rights advocates objecting to how this bill even further tilts the justice system against victims of police violence. Why is this police union-backed bill being rushed through our state government while police reform bills are being stalled? Our New Jersey State Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin is here this evening, and perhaps he might care enough to answer that for us. Speaker Coughlin was present at the Woodbridge Juneteenth celebration and even delivered a speech later that day at the Perth Amboy Juneteenth flag-raising ceremony where he praised civil rights activists fighting for change. Well, ask any civil rights activist and they'll tell you, as our NAACP president, Reverend Donna Stewart, did in her opening prayer at that flag-raising, that while symbolic gestures like Juneteenth are nice, it's the structural, symbolic policies that we so desperately need. She prayed, Lord, hear me when I say, we did not just fight for a holiday, but rather for the freedoms that this holiday brings. We are reminded that we still don't have liberty and justice for all. Juneteenth reminds us, God, that we still have work to do. No justice, no peace. As activist/Congresswoman Cori Bush reiterated in her viral tweet, it's Juneteenth and reparations. It's Juneteenth and end police violence and the war on drugs. It's Juneteenth and end housing and education apartheid. It's Juneteenth and teach the truth about white supremacy in our country. Black liberation in its totality must be prioritized. Forward-thinking municipalities are realizing this and are finally beginning to take necessary steps beyond the symbolic and performative ones to pass concrete, structural anti-racism policies. As Michelle Bannerman of the Woodbridge Youth for Liberation and Equity mentioned at our last meeting, Woodbridge has yet to pass even one such policy, despite numerous advocacy efforts from his organization and other community members of conscience. Council members, Mayor McCormick, our elected representatives, I sincerely ask, are there any anti-racism policies you've been discussing amongst yourselves to pass in Woodbridge? Please, I yield the remainder of my time for you to respond.
Mr. Dombrowski, there's always dialogue amongst the administration, the mayor, and the council. We're not going to get into what we talk about behind closed doors, but there's always talk going on.
With the word anti-racism involved?
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to add anything to that?
Council President, I also believe the Human Rights Commission is going to come up with their report and suggestions. Talking to Chairman Morgan, that should be coming around the corner. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I've been mentioning for quite a while the reforms with the way that we deal with mental health issues when the police are involved and the assistance that they have. And by all standards, that's going very well. Not necessarily, that's not the police telling us that, that's the mental health people talking about the caseloads they have. Also our involvement with the YMCA on case studies with underserved people. Most recently today, there was an issue in town that we have now contracted with the Y that we can have field representatives go out there and assist those people. That's just a number of things. And I know that it's state mandated with the body cameras for the police, but I think that initially what I've heard is we've gone out of our way to not only get those body cameras, but to use them in the proper manner. I believe we're hiring, I don't know if it's official, but we're hiring someone that has knowledge of bringing them online as quickly and safely as possible. So those are just a few observations. That's my observations.
Thank you.
Assembly Speaker Coughlin, any comments about why the...
Mr. Dombrowski, your time is up. Thanks.
He was going to speak. It's okay.
I'll say something. I will say that I'm here tonight in my capacity as the counsel to the council. If you want to make an appointment and meet me, Mr. Dombrowski, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you.
Okay. Justice for Najir Parks, justice for Jeremiah Daniels Porter, Black Lives Matter.
Any other comments from the public this evening? Can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed? Motion. Any questions or comments? Do I have a second on that, sorry?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. We'll now get into our agendas. Number 16 is summer concerts. Actually begin tonight. They run Monday through Thursday, Woodbridge High School, 7:30. And Sundays, and also Sundays, start time is 7 p.m., a little earlier on Sundays. I want to thank our sponsors, Sansone Auto Mall, Woodbridge Center, the Club at Woodbridge, and Berkeley College for assisting with the town with these tremendous concerts. They're really great shows. I urge the public to get out and to go out and see some of these concerts. They're really, really good. Number 19, the American Irish Halfway to St. Patrick's Day event is Sunday, September 19th at Woodbridge High School Field. The American Irish Association will sponsor a family-friendly event featuring live music, dancers, food trucks. A 50-50 ceremony will be the changing of the hashes for the parade honorees and more. Come on out, and I'll touch base on this as the date gets closer. I want to thank the mayor, the administration, and my fellow council mates for June 4th for the Pride flag raising. It was a very nice event. I want to thank everybody who came out to that. And I just want to thank all our first responders for all the hard work they do, all our township employees, Public Works, and God bless America. Council Vice President Bauer.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Mitch, can you add little libraries to my agenda? Coming to the second ward will be little libraries. These libraries are social initiatives to establish small libraries to exchange books in open public spaces. The aim of this project is to enhance community spaces, create a catalyst for reading books, encourage recycling books, and inspire creativity. Books in the hands of children have a meaningful impact on improving literacy. The more books in or near the home, the more likely a child will learn and love to read. With the aid of our local Eagle Scout projects, assistance from our local Girl Scout troops, and our library system, we are looking forward to place these little libraries in selected areas in the second ward. I'd like to wish everybody a happy 4th and safe and happy 4th of July. That's all I have tonight, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few announcements. Item number 5, our police community relations. I'm happy to announce that the Junior Police Academy will be happening this year. The first week will be July 12th through July 16th, and the second week will be July 19th to July 23rd. And I just want to say that I still believe that this is a great program for the children in the township to participate in, because they can learn about the job of our police officers and build community relations, get to know the police officers that run the police academy and build lasting relationships with them. I'm also very, very happy to announce that our police community relations will be hosting National Night Out on August 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Woodbridge Community Center. The flyer is already out. You can see it on the township website, and I'm sure we'll be distributing it everywhere. Again, National Night Out will be August 2nd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and this is a community event. Item number 8, the Hispanic Heritage Festival. We will be celebrating, I believe this is our 5th year celebrating Hispanic Heritage in Woodbridge Township. Will be September 18th in Tansman Park. I will follow up with more information at a later date. I'm also very happy to announce that this is, I believe, our 5th year also doing the KSB Back to School Backpack Drive, which we are going to partner up with an extension of the summer concerts. We're going to have a concert, and we're going to do our backpack drive. We're also going to have our health department there giving out vaccines. We're going to have the Woodbridge Public Library with a pop-up library, because if you're not knowledgeable about the KSB area, there's no branch of the library, so we bring the libraries to the kids. This all started about 5 years ago in an effort to provide services for a community that has, are used to going to Perth Amboy for their services. So we have been making a huge effort to spread the word on all of our social programs and all of our programs that the township provides so that they can utilize it. That would be in the Clinton Avenue Park from 12 to 3. Me da gusto en anunciarles que tendremos de nuevo el Back to School Backpack Drive para los niños, agosto 29, y eso será con un concierto en el parque de Clinton Avenue de 12 a 3. Yo les estaré dando más información en el futuro. Item number 10, the Woodbridge Public Library are offering programs and book and media lists on the statewide summer reading theme, Tales and Tales, T-A-I-L-S and T-L-E-S. Visit the library website or visit in person to sign up for community events and summer enrichment for all ages. And again, this is in all of our library branches in the township. Then I have item number 14, if you allow me to pull up my email. I apologize, here we go. A Girl Scout troop met at the East William Street Park in Hope Lawn, and they will be adopting that park, and it will be renamed Girl Scout Park. They are going to be doing a lot of events in that park, and again, this is also partnership with the community in areas where they don't have library branches, where they don't have easy access to all of our community services. They will be doing cleanups, park cleanups, and hopefully that day also we can do a pop-up library in Hope Lawn and bring the library to the kids. So again, this is the East William Street Park in Hope Lawn, which will be adopted by one of the Girl Scout troops, and all the Girl Scout troops in that area can participate in a park cleanup and in other events, and we will follow up with more information as it comes. Very excited about the little libraries because, again, I'm stressing the fact that these are two areas that don't have branches and that the kids don't have transportation or easy access to get to the library. So I'm very excited about an idea that came out of one of those schools' diversity and equity program. They reached out to us and they wanted to do it, and we said we'll partner up because it's not just one area, there's actually a couple of spots that need it. So I'm very, very excited and thankful to the administration, especially Mayor McCormick, who reached out to the Eagle Scout and said, hey, what about doing this? And thankful to that Eagle Scout that ran with the idea, and I'm excited to see it come into a reality. We are all wearing teal ribbons. Debbie and I decided that we wanted to show our councilmate, Nancy, our support and to let her know that we stand with her, that we have her back, and we were thinking of ideas. And this is what we came up with, and I think that we will be wearing this ribbon until Nancy's back on the dais with us. And we just want to let Nancy know that she is in all of our thoughts and in all of our prayers, and that we can't wait to have her back sitting next to us. And that is all that I have. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller?
Thank you, Council President Small. Item number 7, Route 1 Development. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Swan and his team at University Orthopedics as they received their certificate of occupancy. They're now open for business. The property looks great. The landscaping looks great. It's much better to the eyes of the neighbors than the old big top property. Next door medical office is set to receive their certificate of occupancy, continue to make the property look great, bring in more jobs and revenue to the township. Item number 8, I'd like to, Abatement Fire Department, I'd like to congratulate the 5 new career firefighters that have been sworn in as firefighters with the Abatement Fire Department over the last several weeks. Here's to a fire-safe career. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the Abatement Board of Fire Commissioners for again taking the proactive approach and adding to the career staff and assuring the residents and businesses of the 5th Fire District have the utmost fire protection. That's all for my agenda this evening, Council President. Just a couple announcements. I'd like to congratulate all of our high school graduates that have graduated over the last few days. Best of luck on your next journey. Yes, my daughter was one of them. Yes, I cried. I'm proud of it. So, hope everyone has a fun and safe July 4th. Please keep the fireworks to the professionals. And if you want to go out and purchase pyrotechnics, instead make that donation to the animal shelter. Every year I get a phone call of somebody that's hurt, child is hurt. You know, it's terrible on the animals. We have a fantastic fireworks show plan, so take your fireworks out on that day. Thank you to all our emergency workers, our fire, EMS, Woodbridge Police Department, CERT, and all our public employees. God bless America. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Council President, can I say something? Sorry. In regards to the fireworks, I just want our residents to be aware and to keep in mind that there are a lot of veterans that are suffering from PTSD. So the fireworks, although they're beautiful and very nice, you should leave it to the professionals if you can, and think of your neighbors that are, are veterans and that may have some issues with the loud noises. That is all that I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Meehan?
Thank you. My agenda is in order. I just have 2 upcoming events that I'd like to mention. The first is our annual Wiffle Ball tournament, which will be held on Saturday, July 31st. Registration begins at 10:15 and the games will kick off at 11. and continue through the day. The cost is $10 per player, which includes a barbecue lunch. Teams must be registered by July 24th in order to play. If you'd like to register, a lot of these teams have been playing since they were little boys. They've gone through college, now they're working, and it's really a nice day. It's a special day, and we always do it to raise money for a local family. So if you're interested in coming out and playing some wiffle ball and helping a local family, you can reach out to me at 732-233-0677. The next event is August 7th. We will be holding our first Summer Series concert in Colonia. The Colonia Day concert and Family Day will be held at Colonia Middle School from 2 to 7 p.m. The day will feature live music from local band Revolver, a wine and a beer tent, hamburgers and hot dogs, and activities for the kids. It'll be a great day, really, just to get out and see everybody's faces without masks and enjoy each other's company. So if you can come out, everybody's welcome to come. Councilwoman Drum could not be here tonight, but she asked me to mention that the Woodbridge Chamber will be hosting a networking event called Summer on the Lake this Thursday, June 24th, from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Lake Chateau on Route 9 in Woodbridge. The cost is $15 per member and $20 for non-member. She also said that the Chamber is exciting to be working on their fall calendar, and they're all looking for some great events to come up then. Also, I had a little something to say too, but I'm glad you said it, but I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it. But we are all wearing teal tonight, it just in support of our councilmate and our friend, and we pray for her to get better soon. And I spoke to her this morning. She sends her love and just her thanks for everybody reaching out to her. So please continue to keep her in your prayers. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Ficarra?
Thank you, Council President. I moved up the food chain a little bit today, right?
Yeah.
I do have a few things. My agenda is not in order. It's all over the place. But I wanted to start out with a comment, and the people I wanted to address it to are no longer here. But Mayor McCormick did summarize this. But on the 4 projects, the Hess Upper Main Street, what was formerly Riffy's, the strip mall across the street, Stern Towers, all of these properties prior, in the underutilized condition that they were in, was generating approximately $500,000 a year in tax revenue. When the projects are done, it's going to be upwards of the $3 million. That's again 500 now, $3 million per year. So to think that the town doesn't benefit from that is incorrectly. If you take a look at those projects, we already know the Ross Street School, Mayor McCormick just mentioned this, and nearly Woodbridge Middle School is practically new. Simply put, the projects improve our property value and also contribute to the tax base. And I'm in favor of that. And if you're looking to compare to other towns, take a look at Rahway, take a look at Metuchen. North Brunswick is almost reinventing their town to have a transit village along that rail line. So if anybody's interested, I'm in favor of that. Moving into my agenda just very quickly, again, I know Victoria did this, but congratulations to the WONAC committee under the leadership of Councilman Kyle Anderson, and it's a shame that he's not here. He's the quarterback of that group. The group really rallied behind him. It was a wonderful event, not only a celebration, but for many of us in the education of the history of our country. So again, thank you to WONAC, all of you, Kyle especially, but all of the WONAC people. COVID-19 report, let me just come out of the box on that. We've had 60 clinics so far. We've distributed 4,813 of the first dose, 4,620 are fully vaccinated. So that's 9,436 administered so far. As of June the 2nd, we had 12,496 confirmed cases. That includes not only our community, but St. Joseph's Senior Center and state facilities. There is a clinic this coming Thursday, June the 24th. It might be too late for that, 12 to 4 p.m. And then again on July 1st from 3 to 5. Walk-ins are accepted. And if you're a Moderna fan, we got that. If you're a Johnson & Johnson fan, we got that. So we got that all covered. A lot of talk about the fireworks. Our fireworks are scheduled for July the 2nd at Alvin P. Williams Park. The rain date is July the 5th. The park is closed during the day. The gates open at 4 p.m. Musical guests are the Nerds. If any of you follow New Jersey concerts, the Nerds are a big hit. They play a wide variety of music. They perform 7:30 to approximately 9:15. Fireworks will start somewhere around 9:20, 9:30. And then after the fireworks, I believe the Nerds come back down. In chronological order, the 4-mile Woodbridge Pizza Run will be on July the 7th You have to go online. You can either Google Woodbridge Pizza Run, it'll come right up, or you can go to compuscore.com. The event starts at 7 o'clock. You can pick up your package. You can only register online. There's nothing in person. You pick up your package 5:30 to 6:45, and the race starts at 7 p.m. It is a 4-mile run, as in 4th of July. That's the whole point of it. The awards party will begin over at Captain Carlson Park, which is across the street from Moby's, and there'll be a good time held by all. By the way, I went onto the website today, and there's only 130 spots available. My final note here is the New Jersey Senior Olympics. The kickoff is Friday, July the 9th, 11 a.m. at our beautiful Woodbridge Community Center. The actual event is September 10, 11, and 12. This is our 14th year of being New Jersey's home for the Senior Olympics. Registration deadline is August 27, so you have a little time. njseniorolympics.com is how you register. There is a hotline, 973-618-1111. The books are hot off the press. They look like this. They're out and around town. But again, if you go to njseniorolympics.com, you can pick all of that up. For Woodbridge residents only, it's generally $10 per event, so that would be $30 for 3 events. But for Woodbridge residents, it's only $5, so that's a $25 sale, which is always important to senior citizens. I know, because I'm one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing to yours?
You have to ask the president.
President. For the 4th of July celebration, also the mayor
yes.
wanted to just ask that if it's going to be for anybody that was killed in action over the past 100 years. So if there is a loved one that you know of, you can reach out to us. I believe it's online, Mayor?
It's on Facebook.
On Facebook. So if there is somebody you'd like to honor at that event, please reach out to the township so we can honor them.
We have a Google Doc for
Okay, you can fill it in.
Thank you.
I can't believe it.
No, that's great. Well, it's not great. Councilman Wiffle.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. My agenda is also in order. I would like to have, some announcement. I would like to join and also congratulate to those who all joined to celebrate the Juneteenth as a federal holiday on the last Saturday, June 19th. We thank our Honorable President Biden for signing a bill on Thursday, June 17th, and making June 19th as a federal holiday. We have also a great news for Woodbridge Township residents. Metro Park Railroad Station is a big commuter hub on the Northeast Corridor Railroad line. And Magnolia Road is a main connector road for those residents who live on east and or northeast sides of the railroad. There are many commuters, they simply walk and they use Magnolia Road for the daily commute to work by the train. But in reality, there are no sidewalks on either sides of the Magnolia Road, and commuters just walk on the road. The good news is that our township will receive $1.25 million in federal funding to build sidewalks on Magnolia Road, which people will walk along to get to the Metro Park. Our township does not have the money in hand yet, and there is no date when the sidewalk works will begin. The township will be putting in paved sidewalks and replacing and or building new street curbs in the area when the funding is become available. We wholeheartedly thank our Honorable Congressman Frank Pallone, our Honorable Mayor, and the administration for securing the federal funding for this project. Also in Islin, we will have some road closures notice going out due to several repaving jobs starting today and tomorrow. Patton Street, Carver Avenue, Pine Street, and Benjamin Avenue will be affected as a part of these repaving jobs. Also, Muslim community of North New Jersey, in collaboration with the New Jersey Department of Health and Walgreens, is organizing COVID-19 free vaccination clinic on next Saturday, June 26th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at their MCNJ site, which is located at 15th 15 South 2nd Street, Fords, New Jersey. Their contact phone number is 732-738-5100. They will administer COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine as first and second doses to those who are 12 years old and above. Again, the vaccination is free and walk-ins are welcome. Also, Councilman Spieler and also Councilman Ficara, they already spoke about 4th of July fireworks. But I would like to add that this firework is sponsored by the Royal Albert Palace, which is located at 1050 King George's Road in Fords. We also thank the owner, Mr. Albert Jasani, and the Royal Albert Palace for their generous sponsorships. We also thank all our township departments for their dedication and support for this patriotic celebration. Wishing you all a happy Independence Day. Also wishing you all the best for the summer. Good night to everyone. That's all for tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. I just want to recognize Mayor McCormick, his wife Tammy. I want to congratulate you on the marriage of your daughter Erin to Christopher. I won't ask you if you cried.
Oh, well, I did, I admit it. Like Corey admitted chronic graduation, I was a mess.
I know how you feel, but congratulations.
Listen, I saw you cry. You didn't make it out to Denver, but I certainly made it to your daughter's wedding, and put it this way, you were my role model. I did exactly what you did.
All right. Congratulations. Mr. Mitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple comments. Thank you for taking action on a liquor license transfer this evening. I've added another one to the agenda, and also on all the renewals. You've done over 90 of them already, so we're just about done. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Hubner?
Can I go?
Thank you, Council President. I just have one traffic regulation ordinance.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, Council President, I want to run to the council. I just have two things.
Yes.
The first thing is there was an individual tonight who said during the campaign he had a list of things that he wanted to bring up. The campaign was 2 weeks ago on June 8th. The election was 2 weeks ago. Today's June 22nd. So sometime before June 8th, this person learned of a street light being out and waited at least 14 days and probably more to report that to us. Now, that street light being out could mean anything in terms of pedestrian safety and vehicle safety, and if there's a street light out, that's got nothing to do with campaigns. That should be reported to the township immediately. A woman in our office has a direct line to PSE&G. She gets a poll number, she calls it in, it's taken care of. So I would encourage anybody who has an issue that relates to the town getting something done, please don't tell a random person and expect anything to happen. Now, we all know Councilwoman Drum has not been around. She still is answering phones, or returning calls and returning emails as best she can. But anybody can call. The mayor's office will get right on anything. We all have her back. All the at-large council covered the whole town. They have her back. Anybody in another ward is more than happy to help Nancy deal with anything. They have her back. So the answer to anybody in public who has an issue like a street light being out, do not wait, or any other issue, do not wait. Call us. We're responsive. We'll get things done. Don't just tell somebody randomly who has no connection to the town government. And the second thing I wanted to say is I want to correct or explain what I said tonight. The question came up about the Board of Ed transferring money related to the referendum. Yes, the Board of Ed did transfer money relative to the referendum. It did not get transferred because we didn't pay them the $5 million. I don't want somebody coming back and saying, you were wrong, they did transfer money. Yes, they did. But if we gave them the $5 million, they would have transferred money to pay for the parking and the house that was bought and the field and the other parking and all the other things we've done for the board. So I want to just correct myself and say, yes, the money was transferred. It was not transferred because of anything we did. It was transferred because there were overruns in the projects and there were additional work that was done like I just described. So it was not transferred because we didn't give them the money. The thought that we would short the Board of Ed $5 million when we have the best relationship of any Board of Ed and township administration in the state of New Jersey, the thought that we would somehow short them $5 million is just absolutely crazy. So I want to make that clear. The money was in fact transferred, but not for the reason why the individual said it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Dordan?
Thank you. Just our standard bi-weekly refund resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Simaluka?
Thank you, Council President. Under Administration and Finance, I have Oak Tree Road SID budget. I have the Woodbridge SID budget. I have a resolution adopting a complete and clean streets policy. Under Health, I have a shared services agreement for animal control services. And under add-ons, I have a purchase of a landscape structures for Evergreen. That's the adult recreation exercise equipment. And I have a resolution to amend a prior resolution to increase a final cost for lease to purchase for 18 vehicles for planning and development. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Legal?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.